Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following me on my 2021 IS bumper conversion, in my previous two videos I introduced the bumper, I test fitted on the car to see how well it fit. Today I'm gonna get into all the little details to get it to finally fit. I'm gonna test fit some new brackets on my headlights, and then I'm gonna take apart the grille and get it all ready to send off to the body shop. So stay tuned. If you followed me on my last video, I got this bumper all fitted up onto the car. I pretty much got everything kind of fitting right and looking right. I just needed to get a few minor things to fit. I had to make these little brackets down here fit the 2006 to 2008 bumper because this thing was molded based on the 2009 and up bumpers, which was slightly different on these four tabs right here. So I had to heat these up and bend them. Off camera, I actually bent these to line up better with the car. So I made this one basically like a 90-degree angle right here. And I made this one more straight and then kind of like an S shape just to line up with the fender lining. I put these little tabs right here off the old bumpers, so they pretty much line up with the fender lining now. I just got to get it on there and get the 10mm screw into these holes, and everything should bolt up at the bottom here. Remember, these side ones didn't fit too well. The only way that these are going to actually go on there is if I build some kind of bracket, so I might do that later. So we'll end up swapping these headlights out for my old Depo headlights with the LED projectors I had retrofitted a couple of years ago. For all you guys that have been following my channel for the last 2 or 3 years, if you recall, I had a giveaway contest for these headlights about 2 years ago. We hit the metric like about a year ago. I just haven't had time to actually take these off and do the drawing and everything. So I'm gonna finally do this drawing. It may be at the end of this video, it may be at the end of the next video. I don't know yet, but stay tuned for that. Oh yeah, check out this extra spice I just added off camera. I added a controller that turned those DRLs into a blinker also to blink along with the sequentials. Ooh, look at that. So I ended up ordering this aftermarket headlight bracket to replace that OEM one off the 06. This is the 09, 010. If you guys need this, check out the links down in the description. I'll show you where I got them. They were like 56 bucks for the pair, but they snap right in and they fit these two tabs right here on this bumper perfectly. So once you get in there, it snaps right into the hole there, and it should line up. Hopefully it fits a lot better and it holds it much tighter to the car, but we'll see when we put it on the car with the headlights. If you guys are OGs to the channel, you'll see these are the DRL 2011 headlights that I retrofitted a couple years ago using some Depo housings. These were some of my very first videos on this channel, so if you've been here since the beginning, you'll know what these are. So I'm actually putting these back on the car and get them all lined up again, so I can get these VLANDs ready for the giveaway. VLANDs repackaged in their original box, ready to go to the lucky winner. All right, before I get any further with this install, I'm gonna clean off my bumper support and all the front end areas that's all covered in dirt and dust with some super clean before we get everything reinstalled. So that way everything's nice and clean when we put it back together. So Super Clean did a really good job cleaning up all that dirt and dust and grease on the front end of the car. So if you guys want to try out the Super Clean on your own car, I've got a little giveaway at the end of the video, so just stay tuned. So inside this duct here, you can see that my brake duct doesn't really line up well with the new grill duct. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just trim a little piece out from under here, kind of make this opening wider right over here, so that way it brings more air into the brake ducts. So here's what it looks like after I marked it with a Sharpie. As you can see, I need to make a cut like up here, right down this way, and then across the bottom. I want to keep the bottom of the duct as much as possible, kind of like the lower wall. I just want to open this up so it lines up with the grill. I just want to go straight across the bottom here and try to get as much as I can, and then get the top right over here and just make a curve. As for those air ducts that I trimmed out, it looks like it's a good straight shot now through the brake duct. So you can see the air goes right through there. I might clean it up a little bit. It still looks kind of jagged, and that little spot right there looks out of place. I might clean that up a little bit, maybe hit it with some spray paint to make it look better. Man, the car looks really different with the old 2011 headlights on there. So used to seeing the VLANDs the last couple years, but I like these a lot better anyways. They're much brighter as far as the output. The DRLs look a lot better on here. I just don't get the sequentials and all that other fanciness of the newer ones. As far as those new brackets I put on, the fitment is much better now. This thing actually snaps in nice and tight. It sits gapped under here nicely and all around the edges. Similar on the passenger side, the gap is nice. It's tucked in. I don't see this spot right here anymore. And I get a nice even gap all around. So those brackets really do make a big difference on here. On the underside, you can see the tabs that I turned into little Z's. They do fit perfectly in there now. I was able to get a bolt down here, so it fits there. Over here, it fits there. So we got 4 mounting points right there. Like I said, on that other one, it doesn't come close. And the only way to connect that little piece right here is to actually put a little spacer there, or just kind of leave it. I don't think you really need that one. The only problem on my car is, since I had to trim that center piece, I can actually see the screws and all that underside stuff. If you have a 06 to 08, you probably don't need to worry about that if you haven't trimmed that already for like a 3IS conversion. Over here, I just need to make a few more minor adjustments to the plastic down here to get this thing to fit better. Right now it's hitting right under there. I didn't trim it enough, so I just need to trim that a little bit, and then gets this thing lined up better. And I could drill new holes right in this fender lining down here and up here to put the clip in to hold the side of the bumper. So I got all the edges mounted and the whole bumper fitted up the top. So over here on the side now, I have to fit this to fit into that liner. I put those clips right here, but right now this thing is a little bit short. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat this up, try to move this liner out a little bit to fit into these clips, because I don't want to pull the bumper in because it messes up the fitment near the top at the headlights. So our next mod for this bumper is to fit this universal 3-piece lip onto here. I'm just gonna use the side pieces on this. The centerpiece, I don't wanna use that. I think the centerpiece on this car is already good enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fit it on here, try to get a little bit of a gap right there to actually use the Aero on here, and then just kind of fit the front here to kind of be flush, and then drill the holes so I can mount these. I got it pretty much mounted. This is how far I wanted to stick out. I didn't want it to be too much. I just wanted to follow the lines of the bumper and look like an OEM lip. Flush mount right there on the side. So overall, I think that's nice. I'm gonna paint this grill right here gunmetal. I'm gonna repaint that gunmetal. So I'm gonna repaint this bottom just the same color as the bumper to give it a little bit of contrast. That should go pretty well with this whole setup I'm gonna have. All right, for the grill, I'm gonna end up separating this piece back here, the kind of back piece and reinforcement piece, so I get the front painted. I want this one to be painted matte black, so I'm just gonna take that off and do it myself at home. I'm gonna go shave off these little nipples right here for the plate that I don't need anymore. I'm gonna clean it all up, make it look OEM as far as this goes, and then paint that the gunmetal that I want. To remove this back piece, these things are all melted on here. I'm gonna just try to break those little things off, and then when I reconnect this later, I'll probably try to glue that or epoxy it back on, but right now a few of these are already coming off, and there's a few screws right here that hold it. So we ended up taking those things out. They were pretty easy for the most part because they didn't do a good job of really melting or welding them. But what it is just a little slit tab that goes into a slit on the other end, and then they just hit it with a soldering iron. Like here, these things are angled that way, upwards, and then it's easy to pop if you just go upward. You don't want to go this way because you might break that. But overall, it came off pretty easy. A few of them I just needed to heat up and it came right off. These will kind of line up again when I put it back together, but it won't really be that great anyways. I'll just end up putting some epoxy in there or something to kind of hold it a little bit better once I get it back from paint. So here's the piece behind the grill. You can see it's kind of ghetto because they assembled this thing and then they painted the black, which left all these little spots where the grill didn't cover up. And it's the bare plastic. I kind of want to strip this all down, cut these nubs off like I said earlier, and then kind of sand those down flat, and then probably hit this with some SEM trim paint to get it back to the matte look again. The outer grill pieces are very similar as far as the parts go, so they did weld them or melt them just the same. So I'm gonna just end up cutting a few of these off and just popping this thing off too. So those things popped off pretty easily. I just heated it up. The outside pieces are just held on by some melted plastic that they did. What it looks like they did was they just hit it with a little iron with a little pin in it, and it poked right through, and it actually just went over here and barely melted into there. So that's pretty easy to pop off once you get the heat. Over here was pretty easy too because it slides into those holes. It's just being held through when it's melted back here, but once I heated that up, it pulled right through. So if you guys ordered the same bumper that I got, where these things weren't painted, then you might have to do this. There is another version of this that these come painted like OEM already. In addition, I actually ordered a set of these OEM. They're like $43 brand new from the dealer each. The only difference I think on those is they were just a little bit longer back here because they fit the 2021 bumper for real. This one, they molded it and cut it down or whatever they did to fit this bumper, but it's still the same piece. I just ordered it to play around with, maybe do some custom fog lights. Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. As you can see, making those final adjustments before I drop this bumper off to paint did take a little bit of time, but I wanted everything to fit perfectly on this bumper, as well as getting those VLAND headlights off so I could put my old Depos back on. I like the look of the old Depos much better than the VLANDs, even though with the VLANDs you have the sequential turn signals and the new modern look. I kind of like the classic look of the 2IS with the Depo DRL headlights. I didn't have time to get to the drawing for the headlights today, but I'll do it on one of my future videos. But for those that watched all the way to the end, I'm gonna do another giveaway on this video. So earlier I was using Super Clean to clean the front of the car. I've been working with Super Clean for the last year or so. So on this video, I'm gonna do a giveaway for a bottle of the regular Super Clean and an aerosol bottle of the Super Clean. All you have to do is just leave a comment about what you use to clean your car, whether it's just the outside, the wheels, the brakes, the paint, or the engine bay. If you guys are new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and remember, with all these different projects, whether it's on a car, on the house, or in the garage, if I can do it, you guys can do it too. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.